Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. It is Friday, the 17th of April. This is CTV News. Tonight, fueling optimism, pump prices down ahead of a scheduled tax break Monday morning. Insensitive timing. Mounties apologize for a training exercise near the location and anniversary of the mass shooting. And trading rinks for links. A Nova Scotia golf course invites heartbroken Leafs fans to take a swing.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. Nova Scotia RCMP admit a decision to hold a training exercise in Bedford this week was thoughtless and insensitive. The force failed to recognize this weekend marks the 6th anniversary of Canada's worst mass shooting, which partly unfolded in Bedford. CTV's Hafsa Arif has more.
For many, this week didn't feel like routine, but more like a reminder they never asked for.
They're shocked and angry and disappointed, a whole range of emotions, but really it's how could the RCMP be so insensitive?
Residents here have seen increased police presence for a training exercise since Monday, which wrapped up this morning, just one day before the anniversary of the mass shooting that claimed 22 lives.
Well, my understanding is that there was no live fire of any kind. This was a tactical drill around how to deal with protests, is my understanding. I believe what happened was an officer dressed in his tactical gear went to the local coffee establishment to get a coffee earlier in the week, and that created some interest.
Bedford is part of the timeline of that tragedy, where Kristen Beaton and Heather O'Brien were killed in 2020.
This is a very solemn time for everyone in the Portapique, Bedford, Colchester County area, and all of Nova Scotia. We are all keenly aware of the anniversary that's this weekend and the impact that it still has.
Local police were contacted earlier in the week. The issue then escalated to the federal public safety minister. Within hours, conversations reached the highest levels of the RCMP.
I said, apologizing to me is great, but I need that in writing. You need to put that in writing on RCMP letterhead and send that to me so that I have your word that this won't happen again in future. And he did not hesitate.
In that letter, the RCMP commissioner said, "Please accept my sincere apology for the harm and trauma this has caused you and your constituents. I know this is particularly sensitive given its proximity to the 6th anniversary of the tragic mass shooting in Nova Scotia." RCMP told CTV earlier in the week, moving forward, they'll look at different times or locations.
This never should have happened this week, this close to Portapique, and I do believe that it will not happen again in future.
In a community still carrying grief, timing isn't just a detail, it's everything. And as Bedford heads into a day meant for reflection and remembrance, many hope this is a lesson learned. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Bedford.
Meantime, a man accused of showing up to a Nova Scotia RCMP detachment while pretending to be a police officer has had his impersonation charge dropped because of a lack of documentation in court. Police in Cookville had said the man showed up on the evening of Boxing Day, identified himself as Sergeant Christopher McLeod, newly transferred from Alberta. Mounties couldn't find any record of a Mountie by that name, so he was arrested and charged with impersonation of a police officer. In court, though, a judge said searching a database wasn't enough. It was hearsay evidence.
Well, you'd have to get either some sort of sworn document from the RCMP Human Resources branch or whatever they call it to say that they have searched all their databases, etc., and this individual does not appear anywhere.
I think there's an unfortunate tendency in cases like this for people to say, this is a person who got off on a technicality. But the rules of evidence are not a technicality. They are what stand between us and the state arbitrarily being able to put us in jail. So it's really important that all the proper steps be taken.
Lewis says the case will set a precedent for any similar ones in the future. RCMP in Nova Scotia say a youth is facing child sex abuse and exploitation charges after a home was searched in the community of Kinsac this week. Police say a number of devices were seized in the operation. The young suspect charged with possession of child sexual abuse and exploitation material, as well as making, printing, publishing, or distributing obscene matter. The age and sex of the accused were not disclosed, but they were released on conditions after a court appearance yesterday. An overnight fire has displaced a family in Nova Scotia's Annapolis Valley. Blaze broke out around 10:45 last night in Bezanson Court in North Kentville. Crews contained the fire to the kitchen. The home was saved, but was fairly badly damaged. There were no injuries. The cause is still under investigation. Power was out for thousands of people in HRM this morning after a Halifax transit bus slammed into a power pole in Lower Sackville. Lines were on the ground. The pole was severed after the incident near the Old Sackville Road and Walker Avenue. 4,000 customers there and in Beaverbank were knocked off the grid. There were no passengers on the bus at the time. The driver was not injured. Power was restored to the area before noon today. And a bizarre accident in downtown Halifax tonight. A Halifax transit bus rolled down the hill from Scotia Square and then slammed into a tree, which in turn hit a building at Purdy's Wharf. Nobody was injured. Police at the scene told CTV News there was no one on the bus at the time, including a driver. We've reached out to HRP for more details, but have yet to hear back.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Heading into the weekend, gas prices in New Brunswick and PEI are down slightly. This comes just ahead of the suspension of a portion of the federal gas tax on Monday. As CTV's Avery McRae tells us tonight, it's all come together to provide some rare optimism for maritime motorists.
The difference is a little more than 3 cents, but for drivers in St. John, any refill relief is welcome.
The last time I bought it was much higher than this, so I'm looking forward to things getting better.
Gas prices in the port city hovered around $1.76 today and diesel around $2.20.
I'm saving money. I'm just going to buy a little bit of gas today to hold me till Monday.
That's because beginning next week, Ottawa is set to pause its federal fuel excise tax, saving motorists about 10 cents a litre on gas and 4 cents on diesel. Maritimers are also hopeful the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which sees about 20% of the world's oil pass through, will mean less pressure at the pump.
I think they will come down. The notch up seems to happen quicker than the notch down, but I do think that when we look historically, gasoline prices have followed very closely with the change in oil prices.
Pedro Antunes says the longer the ceasefire lasts between Iran and the United States, the better it is to help get oil flowing, which in turn will bring down prices at the pumps. He says that, combined with the upcoming fuel tax cut from Ottawa, will mean more savings for Canadians.
If that policy holds as well, it is looking better for consumers through the essentially over the next few months.
For some drivers like Don Tompkins, the ups and downs at the pumps aren't even a thought.
It doesn't really bother me too much because I find that the price of gas is the least expensive part of owning a vehicle.
But motorists are hopeful to spend a lot less in the coming weeks. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
Here's another sure sign of spring. One of the Halifax Harbor bridges is closed for the weekend. The McDonald's shut down this evening and will stay closed until 5:30 Monday morning. Officials say it's all part of a second phase of maintenance to extend the life of the Green Towers and ultimately the entire structure.
They're going to start the preparation work. Over the next few months, people will see the bridge tower, the Halifax Tower, wrapped, and workers will be working overhead. They'll be blasting off the paint. We'll be doing inspections. We'll be doing any repairs that are needed. And then we'll be doing a protective 3-coat system.
As of right now, no other weekend closures are planned for either of the bridges. Looks as if the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia has struck down the province's 2025 ban on going into the woods. The news today came from the group Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. The case was launched by this man, Jeffrey Evely, who was fined nearly $29,000 for walking in the forest during the ban. The center says the court ruled the ban was overly broad and lacked clarity, acknowledging governments may act in response to emergencies, but must consider the impact of their decisions on charter rights. Dubious honor from Moncton tonight. The city is one of the first in Canada that will see its Canada Post door delivery come to an end with the latest postal cuts. Here's CTV's Derek Haggett.
We're paying taxes for something that they're taking away from us, which is, to me, it's not right.
I lived in New Maryland for 25 years and had a CMB, a community mailbox. I don't see any problem with it.
Canada Post will convert around 4 million addresses that receive door-to-door mail to community mailboxes over the next 5 years. The phasing out of door delivery will start with 13 communities across Canada.
To me, it's not a done deal. We're going to fight, and we're going to fight this. Canadians deserve door-to-door delivery.
Lynn Doucette says there will be somewhere between 25 to 35% job losses at the distribution depot in Moncton that employs close to 80 people.
It's very sad that they are cutting services to people, to Canadians across the country. It's a public service.
CTV News reached out to Canada Post about potential job losses in Moncton, but did not hear back by news time. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Thank you, Derek. Still to come tonight, Kaylin's full forecast, and we'll offer some helpful advice on avoiding tick bites now that we're starting to be outside a little bit more. Coming up next, though, seeking a fast ferry.
When it comes to congestion, certainly the water is an unimpeded way into the city.
Some prime real estate is being expropriated to build a ferry terminal, which might mark a new way to get between Bedford and Halifax. Details next. Come on back.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. They get decked out with Kent just in time for the warm weather.
You can win $2,000 in patio furniture and decor from Kent. Enter at move100halifax.ca.
Officials say they don't like to do it, but the province of Nova Scotia is expropriating some waterfront land to build a ferry terminal. It is seen as a major step toward introducing a ferry service between Halifax and Bedford. CTV's Jesse Thomas has details.
The Nova Scotia government confirmed it'll use the Expropriation Act to acquire several Bedford waterfront properties owned by the same company to help Halifax bring in a fast ferry service. Area Councillor Jean Saint-Amand says the Milko Ferry Terminal is a transformative project that is urgently needed.
The province tries not to exercise this particular power unless it really feels like it needs to. And in this case, it's really just a matter of the timeline that they're trying to exercise for putting a critical piece of infrastructure in.
The province's Public Works Department declined an interview, but in a statement to CTV News said expropriation isn't the preferred approach, but negotiations with the company United Gulf Developments have reached an impasse. We have been negotiating with the company that owns the land for multiple years. We need this property to move the project forward and begin construction. The Milko Ferry service is being pitched as a key part of the region's rapid transit solution aimed at easing traffic pressure on Highway 102 and the Bedford Highway into Halifax. The province says there is a timeline and negotiations will continue with the property owner to purchase the 6 lots, which they say is a major piece of the puzzle in getting the fast ferry service from Bedford to Halifax up and running on the water. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Bedford.
All right, time for a quick little break here, but when we return, it's your complete maritime weather forecast as we ease into another weekend. Pretty sunset shot here of the Halifax Harbor. Kaylin Mitchell coming up next. Stay with us. Okay, 17th day of April. It is finally Friday night. Did the thunder wake you up overnight?
Oh, you know what? I had almost forgotten about that, but yes, it did. Boy, that was a loud crack of thunder right around the area as that front moved through and the last of the rain and showers with it. Today around the Maritimes, we saw further clearing in behind that weather system, becoming very sunny for New Brunswick. The clearing was a little bit slower to reach Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, but it did. And for tonight, there's just a few clouds around with some patchy fog. Coming up for the start of the weekend, a lot of sunshine expected on Saturday, and then in behind that for Sunday, this weather front that's currently making its way through the Midwestern United States will arrive and bring rain and showers back to the Maritimes. Taking a look at our timeline then for cloud cover and precipitation heading into the start of the day on Saturday. There will be a little bit of fog, a little bit of cloud around first thing in the morning. That's showing up here in through the grays. But the cloud will be clearing and the fog will be dissipating as we make our way into the afternoon, which is looking very sunny to a fair weather mix of sun and cloud. A little bit of a blustery wind in a few locations. We'll take a look at that in the wind forecast in a moment. As we make our way through Saturday evening and Saturday night, it's increasing cloudiness. And then on Sunday, it'll be rain developing through the day for the province of New Brunswick. Patchy showers and drizzle for Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Both of those provinces could get into a little bit of rain Sunday night. Taking a look at the winds in the forecast for tomorrow, they're going to become southeasterly. They'll be sustained 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Some gusts, though, around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia could get up between 40 and 60 kilometers per hour, and a few gusts up around the northwest of New Brunswick between 30 and 50. Now, low temperatures in the forecast for tonight for a good portion of the region will fall down to around the low to mid single digits. Some areas a little bit closer to the freezing mark, including parts of the north of New Brunswick as well as the east of Nova Scotia in Cape Breton. So cool start to the day for tomorrow. In the afternoon, though, in the northwest of New Brunswick, high temperatures come up between 12 and 15 degrees. In the northeast, most of the temperatures between 8 and 11, a little bit cooler the closer to the coastline you are. 16 for Fredericton for tomorrow in St. Stephen, 13 degrees for St. John, 14 degrees for Moncton, the southeast. For Prince Edward Island on Saturday, the high temperatures between 8 and 12 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. In Cape Breton, the high temperatures between 6 and 9 degrees, mostly around the low teens for the north shore of Nova Scotia, mid to high single digits on the eastern shore. Amherst near 13 for tomorrow, 14 at Truro, 10 degrees for the city centers, Halifax and Dartmouth. A little bit cooler, close to 8 for Chester and Lunenburg, then near 10 for Liverpool and Shelburne. 13 for Yarmouth, the Annapolis Valley for tomorrow. Quite mild in the afternoon with high temperatures right around the mid-teens, 13 degrees for Digby. Taking a look at the extended forecast for New Brunswick, there's rain developing on Sunday, clearing to a mix of sun and cloud for Monday and Tuesday of next week, though temperatures turning cooler. It'll be a chance of showers after that, Wednesday into Thursday, and then on Friday of next week, a mix of sun and cloud. For Nova Scotia, the forecast, it's showers and drizzle on Sunday. Sunday night may see some rain move through. That system is expected to finish with some showers, mostly Monday morning, followed by some clearing. Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud, but cooler temperatures. A chance of showers follows for Wednesday and Thursday of next week, and then a mix of sun and cloud for Friday. And for Prince Edward Island, scattered showers on Sunday, turns over to a bit of rain Sunday night. Then showers should wrap up Monday morning. After that, it's a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday. High temperatures near 6 degrees, up to around 8 on Wednesday and Thursday with a chance of showers, and a mix of sun and cloud on Friday. Bruce.
Okay, thank you, my friend. We'll pick it up again for the wake-up weather at the end of the broadcast. Stay with us. There is a whole lot more to come.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
You know, they never really go away, but at this time of year, tick activity ramps right up. We all know a small bite from one of the little bloodsuckers can lead to big issues for you and even your pets. As temperatures rise and Maritimers start to spend more time outdoors, CTV's Stephanie Seco shares some timely tick advice tonight.
We get home and just do a little belly rub and see if I can find any, because they like to get on all the nooks and crannies, right?
As it turns out, this spring is already off to a particularly bad start.
This is an early and very rapid start to our tick season. There are a few things that feed into that. One is that what ticks really like is cool, damp weather.
According to the most recent data, Nova Scotia accounted for nearly half of the Lyme disease cases in Canada, with 2,350. There were 111 cases in New Brunswick and 4 on Prince Edward Island. But Lyme disease isn't the only concern when it comes to ticks.
There's an increasing number of ticks that are infected with another bacterial pathogen called anaplasma, and it causes an absolutely horrendous disease, anaplasmosis, that basically attacks the blood cells and the blood vessels.
While the thought of tick-borne illnesses can be scary, there are ways to protect yourself.
When you've been out in the long grass or short grass even, check yourself afterwards. Use repellent sprays.
A good reminder for dog owners to be cautious.
I use preventive medicine all year long now because I just don't want to take a chance.
Stephanie Seco, CTV News, Dartmouth.
Thank you, Stephanie. Time for one final break on this Friday night. Coming up, a Nova Scotia resort kind of trolls Maple Leaf fans in their home city with a fun billboard campaign. First, though, it's your wake-up weather. Here's a live look at the Armdale roundabout on this Friday evening. 7 degrees right now. Kaylin will tell you how to dress for Saturday morning next. The long-awaited Saturday morning upon us. Let's kick it off with a look at the wake-up and Kaylin.
Yeah, and it's going to be cool first thing in the morning. Morning temperatures around the low to mid-single digits. A few areas could be right around the freezing mark, including in the north of New Brunswick and some areas in Cape Breton. There may be a few clouds and a little bit of fog around in the morning, but the afternoon is looking mostly sunny or with a very fair weather mix of sun and cloud. Away from the coast on Saturday, high temperatures reach the low to mid-teens. For some coastal areas, the high temperatures will top out between 6 and 10 degrees. Bruce.
Thank you, Kaylin. Have a good weekend. Well, the Leafs season, of course, is winding down earlier than fans were hoping, but a Nova Scotia resort is having a little bit of fun with that. As CTV's Josh Smith shows us tonight, Fox Harbour is inviting golfers in Toronto to hit the links with a campaign that's getting a whole lot of attention.
You know, this was a tough year. It was a frustrating year.
Disappointment in Toronto, but at Fox Harbour, they're hoping to attract some heartbroken fans with a new ad campaign.
As soon as the hockey season's done, you know, hockey players and hockey fans typically start thinking about golf.
One billboard in Canada's largest city reads, "Don't worry, there are 18 cups waiting for you here." A not-so-subtle jab at the Leafs missing the postseason.
It was specifically to target the GTA market. You really wanted to play off end of hockey season, always signals the start of the golf season.
Local Leafs fan Darren White would welcome fans and players to Nova Scotia.
It's always been a joke. You see it all the time on your Facebook or on Instagram. You see the pictures of golf bags. There's 2 or 3 guys coming down there to golf, and they let people in. They would come from all over the Maritimes.
The campaign may be playful, but the staff at Fox Harbour say the invitation is sincere.
We've got a long legacy of having hockey players play at Fox Harbour Resort, and anytime we have the opportunity to welcome, you know, NHL players to Fox Harbour, they're always welcome.
Josh Smith, CTV News, Fox Harbour, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Josh. That is the program for tonight. That's it for this week, as a matter of fact. If you'd like to take a closer look at anything you've seen, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. It's your home for news updates all weekend long. I'm Bruce Frisco. We're going to leave you tonight with the names of all of us here at Bell Media. Have yourself a good night and a great weekend. I hope to see you again on Monday.